back to another Just Five Mins. My goodness, another one, you say. Um, I suppose this is a little bit of a filler, to be honest, but it was really that I came across some figures for cloud. Okay, so obviously cloud hosting, everything else that goes with it, but some interesting ones as well, which I wouldn't have guessed that are in the top bracket for cloud revenue. Essentially, so these are your likes of Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Salesforce, Workday, ServiceNow. Obviously that is increased amazingly. But anyway, but the whole point, this just jumped out because the figures I'm about to quote were for Q4 of last year, 2023. So one quarter, okay, one quarter. Okay, so am I jealous? Yeah, probably. What is this information? What is it useful for? Well, nothing unless you've got shares in any of these, I suppose. Um, but there you go. I just want to go through this. But so the idea is, I came across this because a lot of the cloud stuff I work on is Microsoft Azure because I'm a little bit more familiar with the Microsoft technologies. But I've equally done some stuff because obviously with things like AWS, there's some really good .NET support, as well as there is on the other cloud providers in a lot of ways, certainly Google Cloud as well. Um, but interestingly, talking about Google Cloud, they're sort of the highest growth, basically. So Google Cloud is perhaps sort of behind, and it is behind a lot of the other cloud providers. Okay, but it's grown 25.7%. I'll put the link below. And that revenue was $9.2 billion. Okay. Yes, not jelly beans. So, but so Google Cloud is actually, because I've looked at Google Cloud and it, not that it's a problem, but it just seemed fairly limited with what you could get. But then sometimes that might be a good thing, considering AWS and Microsoft and things like that, where it's just a plethora of different choices and whatnot, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just a bit overwhelming. But anyway, there we go. Interestingly, I'm going to do a little article and when I get around to it, probably a video about building, like what you need to build a SaaS product, basically. I've been doing a lot of reading on that, and that's nothing new. But for me personally, it started back, wow, mid 2000s, possibly thereabouts, even earlier. Which was being impressed with what Zendesk was doing. Zendesk, the service-based system. Actually met a couple of the sort of co-founders at the time, and it was. But did I do anything about it? No, of course I didn't. But anyway, such is life. But anyway, yeah. So 9.2 billion for a quarter. That's not bad, is it? Really. 25.7% growth for Google Cloud, but also ServiceNow. That obviously, again, that service-based ticket. Now I know they're going after. It looks like ServiceNow is going after Salesforce quite aggressively because they're implementing their own CRM environment platform. Because it isn't just CRM anymore, is it? It's a whole environment. You can build apps on there, and goodness knows what. It's weird, really, because Salesforce, that was originally CRM, is so much more. CRM's just a small component of it, really. I guess so. All of these platforms, it's a little bit hard to sort of like define, really, these days, isn't it? So anyway, so ServiceNow 25.5% growth. That's in a quarter. 2.37 billion. Wow, it's just small fry, that, isn't it, really? Oracle have grown actually 25%, and so has SAP as well. because SAP have been ploughing loads of money, 1.2 billion or something, into getting their, getting themselves remodernized as cloud providers, essentially. But again, their revenue for ServiceNow, 2.37, Oracle 4.8 billion, SAP 4.1 billion, and then you get to Microsoft, which is still 24% growth. So it's a little bit behind. It's number 5, but 33.7 billion. Okay, let just that sink in a little bit. You think Google 9.2, the closest one, yeah, literally, yeah. Well, not the closest one. Sorry, I should come back to that. That's AWS, but 33.7 billion. Workday, which I haven't really done much with Workday, it's grown about 18.1%, 1.69 billion. That's just pocket change, isn't it? Goodness me. And then AWS, yep, they've slowed a bit, really. 13.2% growth, with 24.2 billion. So they're the closest behind Microsoft. Okay. Then you've got things like Salesforce, which haven't really grown much, 11% apparently. I don't know why that's not much. Crikey, I'd be quite comfortable with that. 8.72 billion, not to be sniffed at. IBM next, 1% growth. Yeah, struggling a bit there, 5.3 billion. Pocket change again. And Snowflake, which is the database as a service and all the stuff that goes around it. I've looked at that. Haven't done much with it, but that's grown 34%, which is pretty good. But they're a mere 699 million, not billion. We're not in the billions yet. So yeah, totally, that you wouldn't be able to buy a coffee for that these days, would you? But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in. But Microsoft, 33.7 billion. Blimey. Yeah. And every time I keep getting, my sort of like cloud bill, for money that you've got to really be careful on there, certainly on Azure or any of those cloud platforms. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm contributing because they obviously need it, don't they? But anyway, all jokes aside, I just wanted to throw that in there. And again, I've gone way over, rambling as usual, but that's what I've got for this time. I'm going to leave it there. And by the way, I'm using a new platform, Substack, for the podcast hosting. I got a little bit fed up hosting WordPress myself, and then having an audio podcast hosting separately. I thought, crikey, I'll just plug it all together. I will be moving the domain over soon, so all the archived shows will be there too. But since it's gone over 8 minutes, I should have something like just 8 minutes, shouldn't I, really? But that's all I've got for now. Yeah, it just puts it all in context, doesn't it? Okay, take care until next time.